Hey guys, so I just thought I'd film a quick video explaining my push session at the gym. So I'm going to do this into like a little series, but I've had a few people asking me about my workout regime, and I talk about it in my videos quite a lot. But I think working out is like one of the most important things you can ever do for your body, especially if you're getting into like business and just like self improvement in general. So anyway, without further ado, here's my push session, which I did the other day. So I've got my girlfriend to film me doing the exercises and stuff. So that's what you can probably see on screen now. I'll edit it all together and just do a little voiceover. But yeah, the first exercise that we're doing here is incline dumbbell bench press. So a pretty easy setup here. You want the bench at like a 45-degree kind of incline. It's not like if you think of the bench like here, that this is like flat, and then the incline is like that's like diagonal, right? That's not what you want to do. That's like too high up. You want to go in between the flat and the diagonal across. It's like in between that. It's like 45 degrees, I think, roughly. So yeah, you want to get on that. And it's, I think on most gyms, benches, it's like the second peg up from the bottom. So from flat, and then there's like one peg up. It's literally just one peg. I think that's what you can see I've got on here. So yeah, with this is the first exercise we're doing, by the way. So yeah, this is just three working sets with one warm-up set at the start. So we're going to just do lightweight at the start for the warm-up set, and then we're going to do three working sets with the heavier weight. I think I'm using, 20s here, 22s. But on the first warm-up set, I'll have just used like 12 or something like that, just to get the muscle fibers going and everything warmed up. So yeah, with this, the most important part of the movement is just to keep your shoulders pinned back into the bench. Keep your shoulders pinned back as far as they can. Really retract your scapula. Think about when you're doing a pull session, just think about pulling your shoulder blades back into that bench so that your shoulders don't help at all with the movement. It's just your chest. The way I like to think about it is when you're pressing up, how can I get my elbows closer to each other? So instead of thinking about getting your fists closer, where kind of your shoulder kind of starts to come over, keep your shoulder back, push forward, and just think, how close can I get my elbow to the other elbow without having to come forward? Just keep the shoulder back and just press forward. That's how I do that. Brilliant exercise. Anyway, on to the next one. We've got shoulder press. So this is just basic shoulder presses for the front delt. Just a nice thing to go into after doing incline bench, because you kind of get the front delt warmed up with that exercise inevitably. So it just makes sense to move into this exercise afterwards. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory here. Get the bench up on its highest position that isn't straight like that. You want it just slightly back. So not straight up, slightly back. And yeah, just press from there. This one you got to be careful. Do quite a lot of warm-up sets at the start before you get right into it, and make sure that your shoulders are nice and warmed up, because you can risk injury on this exercise if you're not careful. So that's just one thing I'll say. So really warm up the shoulders, and then don't go too heavy. It's more about volume with this exercise. For the third exercise here, we're just doing the shoulders again. We're doing the mid delt, which is the most important of all the muscles in the delt. So there's three muscles in the shoulders. There's the front delt, there's the lateral head, which is the one that we're training here with the side lateral raises, and then there's the rear delt as well. The mid delt, with these lateral raises, is by far the most important muscle in the shoulder. It's going to give you that width and the girth that is, and it's the most uncomfortable to train, unfortunately, but we've got to do them. So with these side laterals, yeah, just lightweight, think about getting more reps in, keep your form, and you're thinking about gripping onto the dumbbell lightly with your fingers, and you're just thinking about how high can get your elbows up. So drive the movement with your elbows rather than with your wrists, because then you sort of end up getting your rear delt involved. You want to just think about getting your elbows up. Here onto the fourth exercise. So before I just go into this further, I want to just mention we're having about 60 to 90 seconds rest in between each of the sets, and I'm doing 3 working sets on every exercise, but just with a warm-up set at the start, just with light weights, just to get used to the movement. I do that with every exercise. So here we're doing skull crushers, the infamous skull crushers. These are absolutely brilliant if you want to develop those triceps and get that big stretch at the bottom of the tricep. At this point in the movement, you get a huge stretch, and then you can come up. Key is with this, get the bench flat, get your head so it's over the back of the bench, so that it's like drooping down behind the back of the bench. And that means you can get the dumbbell all the way down behind the bench instead of it hitting the bench. You can get it all the way down behind, get the big stretch on the tricep, and then push up. And then you want your arms, if you think about, I'm on the bench flat like this, instead of your arms in front of you, you want them back about diagonal, so that when you bring the dumbbell up, it's the triceps constantly under tension that way. And it's a brilliant exercise. Don't skip out on skull crushers. I always start off the triceps with that because it's the hardest one, and it really, my triceps are always sore the next day after doing skull crushers. I would not skip out on these. On to the next exercise. We're actually doing a little bit of a superset here, so triceps, triceps, triceps with this. I really like to go hard on the triceps and bash them out because I get a really good pump on them, so I like to just really focus on them. With this, we're doing tricep extensions and then overhead tricep extensions. So one of them is the downwards movement. Keep your elbows locked in close to your body with this one, chest out, and bring your bum back so that you can get the cables all the way down to your hips, and then bring them up about 90 degrees, not too far up here because your triceps not really working, about 90 degrees, and you bring it up to there and then back down again. So you're just sort of doing that half movement. If your arm's like that, you're sort of going down and then up without having to go too far up, because then you're sort of taking the tension off the tricep. Then you want to constantly keep tension on the tricep. And then the overhead cables are exactly the same. Get your body as low down as possible and just extend out with these. And then on to the next tricep movement, we've got dips. So this is just assisted dips. These are brilliant, honestly. I like to just start off the first set with quite a lot of assistance and just rep them out, and then slowly start taking the weight off and off, and then until I get down to body weight at the end when it's the hardest, and I can just get a couple of reps out. But it's brilliant just for like getting that, really pushing the triceps to their absolute failure after you've done those 3 movements beforehand. So yeah, that's the triceps done mostly there. Now we're on to the next exercise, which is another chest movement. You'll notice there's not too much chest in this, but that's because I actually train it again in another session. And yeah, so the next exercise here is pec deck. This is like probably my favorite chest exercise ever. It's just brilliant to get locked in that machine, get as much weight in that as you can. And the keys with this is, instead of letting your elbows droop down like this, keep your elbows up. So don't let your elbows droop down. Keep your elbows up, and then you're squeezing in. Keep your shoulders back. Squeeze in like that, and you can really get that thing. If the handles are quite high up, that's fine. Do one session where the handles are quite high up, and then do one session where the handles are a bit lower down, where your seat's up and the handles are lower down. Just gonna help get the lower chest and the upper chest, and just mix it up every month. So you're doing this sort of movement here, keeping the shoulders back, chest out. Every chest movement you want to do, you want to keep your chest out. If you're thinking about developing the chest, you want to bring it out and get it puffed out big as you can, shoulders back. And you're just using the chest to bring those arms of the machine in. And it's brilliant exercise. Honestly, fantastic. You get a brilliant pump. It really gets the middle. You can get a huge contraction. It gets the middle of the chest fantastically. Here's a silly little video of me just checking my triceps out after that mental tricep pump. And then we're on to the final exercise. We're just going to hit that lateral head a bit more because I quite like to spam the lateral head. I think it's the most important shoulder head by far. The sides of the shoulders is what just gives that girth when your shoulders go up. So like that bit of the shoulders there, you can sort of see the fibers a little bit on me. Not saying mine are super impressive or anything, but you can see there it's the most important head of the shoulder by far, in my opinion. So we're just going to do some cable lateral raises, same as when we were doing dumbbells, same movement. We're just going to get the wrist strap on, and so we don't have to get the fingers involved, the grip. We're not worrying about our grip and our forearms. We're just solely focusing on the mid delt. We don't want our arms helping in any way. We don't want to worry about our arms. We just want to think the arms are just a way of having the weight onto our mid delt, and we're just bringing it up. Everything really nice and controlled. You can see that I'm sort of driving the movement with my elbow. My wrist is even kind of drooping down a little bit, but as long as my elbow is getting up and it's focusing on the mid delt, and you get a brilliant pump on this. And the good thing about using cables as well is your mid delt is actually loaded with weight at the bottom of the movement. With dumbbells, you sort of bring the weight up with the dumbbells, and most of the energy is put on the mid delt. Most of the force is put on the mid delt in the upwards portion of the movement. On the way down, there's not a huge amount of resistance on the mid delt. You're just sort of slowing the weight down with your arm. Here with the cables, because there's constant tension, even when you're coming down on the movement, the cable's trying to pull you down faster than gravity is. So there is actually force on the mid delt, even in the extended position. And if you can get force on the concentric and then eccentric position on the mid delt, then that's going to just help bring out all the muscle fibers, and you just get a brilliant pump from it. It's fantastic. And then yeah, just to finish off the workout, we're just going to do a little bit of cardio, just 10 minutes on the Stairmaster. Honestly, this thing is crazy. If you have a Stairmaster at your gym, I'd highly recommend you use it. It's brilliant just to help those calves a little bit as well, because they often get neglected. And it's just a fantastic exercise all around. It gets you really, really gas. And it's fantastic, really out of breath when you do it. I'm out of breath just from speaking for so long for this video because I'm trying to do it all in one take. But it's a brilliant exercise. I'd highly recommend, just after you've done like a push session like this that's like super intense, just getting on Stairmaster and trying to get those last bit of calories expended. And it's just a great way to finish the session. Overall that is the push day. That's the video, guys. Like and subscribe if you found this interesting. I'll probably do a pull session next time I'm doing that at the gym and get someone to film it, and I'll go through that if you guys find that helpful, and then a leg session as well. Thanks. See ya.